Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk and walk you through about a completely different topic altogether. You might have heard that, and maybe you might have seen something happening across the organizations as well as clients and projects, right? So that is something which is all about by default, right? So what is meant by default, right? We are hearing and seeing a lot about security by design, security by default, right? All of those are the different initiatives to be able to keep the systems and platforms safe and secure from the day one. Since the platform is in development, right? Development means the product is being developed, and before developing the actual prototype of that product, we are also embedding the security and capabilities at the same time into that respective platform, right? Now, this is something which is applicable also into the cloud platforms, right? Now, cloud platforms, including AWS, Azure, GCP, and many other platforms as well, right? They do have a different capabilities that they do provide with the platform. So that is called as hybrid by default, right? So you might say, okay, hybrid by default is nothing new, right? You have seen the hybrid platforms, hybrid environments across the organization, and many companies are still relying on it, right? That's completely 100% agree or completely available there, right? But still, there's something you need to make sure or understand what it means by default, right? When it comes to the cloud one and why it is hybrid by default, right? Many organizations are still using the hybrid cloud. They do have a lot of capabilities that they wanted to follow for in terms of security, compliance, and regulations across the global organizations, right? And they do have to follow that one, right? And there are many scenarios. So I'm going to walk you through my PPT presentation, and definitely you will get an understanding how it actually works, right? What it is, right? And why companies are still adopting and relying on hybrid cloud, right? So hybrid cloud by default in cloud, right? So which includes concept scenarios and approaches that I'm going to walk you through, right? So let's dive in. But before starting, I would like you to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel as well so that you get to see every video, right? So let's jump on. What is hybrid by default, right? So this is going to be the question, or you might have seen or heard, or maybe the people around you who are actually working on something like this or similar kind of projects, right? So I have put some thoughts around here, including assumption, right? So we have assumption saying that, okay, workload spanning across on-premises, public cloud, and edge environments, that's also being going to be the hybrid cloud, right? At the same time, that's one of the area, but or that is also sufficient and is fine at one case, but hybrid by default in the cloud era or cloud ecosystem is completely going to be the a game changing and is also making a lot of sense and differences, right? Which is not a completely cloud only or on-premises first, but it's the hybrid first approach basically, and it ensures the flexibility, compliance, and cost optimization. Now you might say, okay, we have our own on-premises environment or private data center. Now we wanted to take it to the cloud platforms. Of course, that can be taken to the any cloud or any public cloud platform, including AWS, Azure, GCP, and any other that whichever is going to be required and as per the business needs, and that's going to match, right? Now flexibility, compliance, and costs. Of course, that is also available on certain workload services that each business is relying on, right? Including databases, networking, security, compliance, and all of that stuff, right? Even if you are trying to host or move or migrate from on-premises private data center to the cloud, definitely it has all those capabilities to do that as well, right? Now, okay, so hybrid cloud or hybrid by default in the cloud environments, right? So to understand this better and in more clarity, it is something you have different workloads sitting and running across the multiple cloud providers, including AWS, Azure, GCP, and any other, of course, right? So that is going to be the hybrid by default. and by design, basically. Also, at the same time, you'd get an opportunity and chance to bring that integrations from all the different cloud platforms to your on-premises and private data centers, right? So that's going to be the complete hybrid by default cloud platform. So this is how you can understand it better and in plain or simple language, right? And as I mentioned, it is not only cloud or on-premises, but it is a hybrid first approach, right? Which also gives flexibility, compliance, regulations, and optimization on the cost part. Now, why hybrid by default, right? You can see regulations and compliance is one of the main area many organizations do follow and they have to rely on whenever and wherever they are doing business with, right? Including GDPR, HIPAA, RBI, and many other regulations, right? And those are the areas where each organization has to follow because of their business needs and requirements and everything together. Then another is latency and performance for optimization, cost savings for legacy workloads, business continuity and resilience, and avoid vendor lock-in, right? So these are the different pointers, or you can say the considerations why hybrid by default should be the approach to take. And many organizations are already adopting that one, right? And they are leveraging all different cloud platforms and making sure each and every considerations is also being followed for their businesses. Then there are some of the scenarios and examples that you can take and understand to get into the each of the areas in depth, right? For example, financial services, where bank has their own on-premises data centers. At the same time, they have also cloud solution, which is deployed across their cloud estate along with on-premises environments to detect the fraud detection systems or fraud detections, basically, so that it is going to help them to mitigate any of those situations, right? And they can take the proactive actions instead of being the reactive one, right? So that's how it is going to be. All right, just a minute here. All right. So the next one is healthcare, right? That's one of the industry where they do have a lot of data, which is patient data, business data, systems, applications, and everything together. Right. So they would also do a lot of research across the product development and everything, right? And that is something very confidential for them. They cannot easily or simply put it somewhere, and that's easy to catch, right? So that is why they have to put the data, you know, behind the firewalls and make that more safe and secure. And at the same time, the data is going to be stored in the on-premises data centers. At the same time, they would also do and run their research analytics across the cloud platform so that they would get the complete insights, complete details of their businesses and systems and applications, how they are performing in that respective area, right? So that's how it is going to be helping them. And not only that, but there are different use cases for each of those areas wherever they are investing a lot of money across the cloud platforms by using the technology stack, right? The next is manufacturing. You can see it's applicable for different areas, including IoT edge services and devices, including predictive analytics in the cloud, right? So let's say we have hosted something on premises with IoT edge devices, and plus we are also using predictive analytics from the cloud platforms. So in conjunction with both together, we would be leveraging cloud plus on-premises systems to be able to get the complete visibility controls and the insights of the data so that we can run and drive the business use cases for the different requirements of the business and how we are going to take it further for different maybe offerings or services and whatever the capabilities that we are building and providing. The next is SMBs across Microsoft 365 SaaS-based applications, along with the legacy on-premises SQL applications together, right? So it includes the on-premises plus cloud. And even if we have the application which is developed in-house, the same application is going to be delivered from all the locations or from all the systems together so that the business has the capability, and they are going to build it and customize it as per their needs, right? And the last one is gaming, right? So gaming is something which is kind of big and booming industry, right? Which also relies on multi-cloud platforms, including Azure, AWS, and any of the platforms that they are leveraging for performance along with security, compliance, and everything together. So these are some of the scenarios and examples that I have put together to make you understand better why hybrid by default is going to be the one where companies and businesses are still relying, right? And of course, there are different key areas to focus, as I mentioned: security, compliance, regulation, performance efficiency, cost optimization, along with the data residencies and everything together. So it is not specific to an industry, not specific to any business use case, but definitely it's going to be everywhere across the industries, right? So that's how it is going to be and is being used and leveraged. Then approaches to take by hybrid by default, right? So starting with, you can see identity access management and then networking management and then data and FinOps, right? So approaches for hybrid by default, that means how you are going to take to be able to implement it, right? Then how you are going to make sure systems, applications, identities, networking, and management of it is going to be effective so that companies which are using and leveraging all those capabilities, they are not simply relying on particular service. For example, if you have to take an example of management of multi-cloud architecture or multi-cloud platform, right? How you are going to do that? In Azure case, we have Azure architecture or Azure Arc basically. In Google, it's a Google Anthos, and there is one more service for AWS, which is Outpost, right? So these are the areas or capabilities where we can leverage and manage multi-cloud capabilities, right? And on the other special capabilities, something like identity access management, networking, and data and FinOps, where we would also focus to be able to make sure those are integrated systems and those are working as expected when we are integrating for the business systems or business requirements basically. And this is a bit about forward thinking view, how organizations as well as any company who are already into hybrid by default systems and they are going to leverage or they wanted to go ahead and use it, right? So they would look something like this, which feature equal to polycloud plus hybrid, right? So what is polycloud? Polycloud is something which is going to rely and completely be on hybrid by default or hybrid cloud with multiple cloud platforms, multi-cloud vendors, right? And then they would leverage different services, right? Plan for portability across environments so that if in case there is something with or with that respective platform, which is a kind of vendor lock-in, that means there's a portability needed so that a business can sustain and they can move out of that particular system if in case they need to, right? So that's also needed there and that's important too. Then including containerization or Kubernetes and APIs as enablers. So that is also available for scalability, performance, and everything, right? Along with AIOps and FinOps for optimization of cost, performance, and compliance across the application systems and overall cloud platforms, right? So That's how it is going to be. And as this is going to be the forward thinking, that means whatever you are going to do, you will look for or you will envision for next 5 to 10 years whatever you wanted to do and how you wanted to optimize your investments that you are going to do for the cloud platforms, right? So yeah, that is what I wanted to show you and talk about and walk you through what is hybrid by default and how it is being used, leveraged, and definitely there are many use cases, many different areas to focus. And it's not something just spin up the different cloud platforms and start using one or two services from each cloud and then move ahead, right? So that's not how it is going to be. Definitely there is a lot to leverage and deep dive into it, right? So yeah, let me know what you think about this. Have you seen anything happening across your role or organization or project, something like that? And I would be happy to answer any questions you might have. So, yep, that's all for this one. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel as well so that you get to see every new video whenever it is uploaded. So, yep, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.